In section 5.7, we're going to solve equations by factoring. The first thing we're going to do anytime you want to solve an equation is you want to have it set equal to 0. This first example, it's already like that, so now we want to take our left-hand side and factor it using a previous method, which in this one it's a trinomial, so we're going to use bottoms up. So what multiplies to give us 1 times 24, which is 24, but adds to give us a negative 10. So first of all, we're just going to do 2 times 12, different factors of 24. Just right off the top of my head, these come to me pretty quickly. So we stop. I see that a 4 and a 6 could possibly give me a 10, but this needs a negative 10. So if I make both of these negative, then when I multiply them, negative 4 times negative 6, I still get a positive, and when I add them, I get a negative 10. So I take my factors, negative 4, negative 6, and I put it over my 1y and 1y. And now we do bottoms up, so this is y minus 4. This one becomes y minus 6 equals 0. To solve this, I take this first parenthesis and set it equal to 0. Y minus 4 equals 0 and solve. And then I also take this second parenthesis, y minus 0, y minus 6 equals 0, and solve it. So now we're just going to solve for the variable, add 4 to both sides, y equals 4. And then right here I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and we'll get y equals 6. So that's how we solve that equation. Okay, the first thing I want to do in this first example is distribute. I'm going to get 2n squared minus 3n, and I'm going to subtract this 2 minus 2 equals 0. Set everything equal to 0, so I distribute it and then I move the 2 over. Now I'm going to try my bottoms up, and says what multiplies to give me a negative 4 but adds to give me a negative 3. Well, that's going to be 4 times 1, and it needs to be a negative 3, so that's a negative 4 and a positive 1. So now I take those factors, a negative 4 and a positive 1, and then I have a 2 in here, so I'm going to put it over a 2n and a 2n, and now I need to simplify. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and then I'm going to write from bottoms up, so that's 1n, bottoms up, it's going to be 1n minus 2, which is just n minus 2. Over here, this fraction doesn't simplify, so I just write from bottoms up, 2n plus 1 equals 0. Now I want to take my first parenthesis, set it equal to 0, and solve, and then I want to take my second parenthesis and set it equal to 0, and now we're just solving each of these. So you're going to get n equals 2, and over here we get n equals negative 1/2. So alright, my next example, this is already in factored form, so it's pretty much halfway done for me. All I'm going to have to do is take this first parenthesis and set it equal to 0 and solve it. So I get x equals negative 4. And then I'm going to take my second parenthesis and set it equal to 0 and solve it. So you're going to get divided by 5, and you're going to get x equals 1/5. Okay? On my next example, the first thing we want to do is get it set equal to 0, so I'm going to move everything to the left. So I'm going to have m cubed, I'm going to subtract m squared to this side, and I'm going to subtract 12m, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. Next, I need to take out a GCF. They all have an m. When I take an m out, I'm left with m squared minus m minus 12. Now once I do that, I want to check inside my parentheses and make sure that it doesn't factor again. So we're going to try bottoms up. Multiplies to give us negative 12. So I'm going to do my scratch work over here. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 6. 1 times 12. There's just some factors. But I needed to add to give me a negative 1. To add to give me a negative 1 would be a negative 4 and a positive 3. Make sure it still multiplies to give you negative 12 and it adds to give you a negative 1. Now I'm going to take those factors, negative 4 and 3, and I'm going to put it over, there's a known 1 here, 1m and 1m. Then I write, check to see if my fraction simplifies, and then write from bottoms up. M minus 4, m plus 3. Do not forget to drop your GCF, equals 0. Now to solve this, I'm going to set each one of these equal to 0. So I get m equals 0. That's done. I'm going to get m minus 4 equals 0. And I'm going to solve this one. So I get m equals 4. And then I'm going to set the last one equal to 0. M plus 3 equal to 0. And we get m equals negative 3. So always check for your GCF first, and then after that try your other factor methods. And once you have it in factor form, which is here, then you're going to set each component equal to 0 and solve.